Welcome to It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. What is it? It's everything. Everything you want in life starts with courage. The prime of your life. What? I know. I'm one of those. I just jump in and poor Jen sometimes just look at me like, okay, thanks, Kat. Oh gosh. Okay, so I've been doing these bodybuilding competitions. It's become a bit of an addiction. But this last one that I did, 2 senior citizens. One participated and one was she was helping out, but she still looked phenomenal. There was this one guy who was on stage. I want to say he was in his 60s, definitely in his 60s. And when I tell you this guy was on stage just having the time of his life, not only was he in amazing shape and amazing, just when we look at the world now, as people get older, it's just almost like they look like they're deteriorating. But this guy just looked like he felt like he was in the prime of his life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it had me thinking, as we go through life, so many times we're told, oh, these are your prime years. This is the time to live your best life and enjoy your best life. And I thought, well, is there really an age limit to the prime of your life? When is the prime of your life? Can it be at any time, at any stage
I
of
think
life?
it can. I think it can because I think I hear my daughter just started freshman year and I heard a dad say, or somebody asked her like, oh, what grade are you in? And she's like, oh, 9th grade. And he's like, oh, these are going to be the best 4 years of your life. And I was thinking to myself, high school was not the best 4 years of my life. But then I started thinking about kind of the same question you're asking. Like, I had an amazing time in college. And I know other people that, college is just college. Like, it's a whole different experience. I think it's important that we make the time we're in now
to be the prime
of your life.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be
a specific time. Because I know, like, obviously you hear that stuff where people are like, your 20s are usually like your sexual peak, and then your 30s is that time where it's like your physical peak. You look the best, you've evolved, not even looks wise or whatever, but like then your 40s, 50s are your best.
You're
years
making money.
Mentally, yes. All these things. And I just thought, like, often, and I thought about this, sometimes you miss. Life has seasons. Like, I think we have seasons that we go through in life as your life changes. So, like we were talking about earlier, when you're coming from high school to when you're in your 20s and you first start your career, there's certain moments in there that can be considered your prime as well. To when you get married, to when you have children, to when your children leave the house. These are all different seasons that you go through, and things have to change. So I think you can be at the prime in a specific season. Like, I think there are multiple primes or peaks of your life during different seasons. And each one looks different. Yeah.
And there's, like you said, you had told me this earlier before we were recording about the older gentleman that was competing. And you made a really good point in that, like, sometimes we're so busy with life of, getting up, drinking our water, going to work, running the kids around, doing all the things just to make it day to day, that you kind of have a dream or you have something that you're like, man, I would really love to do that, to like be a bodybuilder, right? And it just doesn't fit in, or run an Ironman, or do something in life that takes a lot of time and preparation that you just don't have maybe in the time, in your age time that everybody else is doing it. So it's
season,
yeah. So it's like, okay, like this older guy that was doing it, maybe he was this businessman that just never or traveled or whatever and couldn't do that back when he was younger. And now he's retired and he has the time to hit the gym. He has the time to meal prep and do the diet. And so he's accomplishing that goal and defying the age limits that just society puts on. Oh, this is the time frame that you need to do this, or you're you're too late.
Yeah. And I think we've become so hyper focused on that's what consumes you. A lot of people will say, it's too late for me to do this. I'm too old to go back to school. I'm too old to start thinking about changing my career. Yeah, I'm too old to. And I think it's because of this idea that your prime of your life should be at a specific age range or a specific time, that we become afraid to go for these goals or go for these things that we said one day I would like to. And then once you're in there, that could be your prime. That is your prime moment. And it also had me thinking that sometimes I think we miss the times when we're in our prime. Going back to what I was saying about life has different seasons. As things change, you excel in certain things at that time. Like if you're a new mom or, that's a new season. You're having to juggle your relationship with your partner and, running a household, if that's what it is, and then being this mother. And you may be that mother who, I don't know, you're so artistic that you're always doing all these cool things but I feel like society sometimes will have you feeling like that's not a prime moment. And it really could be. You're really excelling at being this homemaker or new mom or, does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think that part of that comes with like, we all do things in phases of life. Like, right? Like at 5 years old, we all start kindergarten and then we all graduate when we're 18 and then we go off and we either go to college or we get a job and then we get married and then you buy a house and then you have kids and you're kind of going through this and like you're doing life with people in your own age. And so there's a certain like mindset of like what you know about life in those certain times, right?
Yeah.
But then when you're 40 and you look back at when you were 18, you see that totally different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I know I talked a little bit about homecoming dress shopping with my daughter on another episode, but it's kind of like I hear women in their 40s always like look back at these pictures of when they were 18 and 25 and think, man, like I wish I looked like that again. But when you were in the moment, you thought you were fat.
Yeah.
And I was at a store with Bailey and she tried on this dress and she's like, I just don't know about this tight fitting dress. And, she had never really worn anything like that. She was a little uncomfortable. And, everybody thinks that they need to lose 5 pounds or whatever. And she's perfect the way she is in my eyes. But we got in the car and I just told her, I was like, I know you're not going to understand this, but take it from me at 43. You're gonna turn around and you're gonna be 43 and you're gonna look at pictures of you going to this homecoming and you're gonna think what a bombshell you are. And you're gonna think, I rock that dress and I want to be that size again. Yeah. And I can't believe I thought I needed to lose weight. Like the mentality of what we know when we're in our 40s or 50s or 60s compared to what is, what we know about life when we're in our teens, 20s, and 30s is like a total different mindset. And 100. So like I just told her, I was like, you're not going to really understand this. I can't explain it to you, but you're going to look back and you're going to wish you wore the tight dress.
And yeah.
And so I don't know if she's going to take it for what it's worth or not, but like, I'm hoping I'm giving her a little bit of a lesson.
Yeah. I think it's true. Even me in my 30s, I look and I think back to when I was 18 or when I was in my 20s and things that I was not even doing, but things I could have done. But I felt either underqualified or I just thought, oh, well, no, I'm not the kind of person who would go for, I don't know, when they literally say the world is your oyster, it really is. Like, I definitely understand there are certain constraints in life that can stop you going for certain dreams, whether it's financially but I feel like I'm in this stage in my life. Now, I guess I do feel like I'm in the prime of my life based on the bodybuilding competition. But outside of that, I think to me, it really just highlighted how if you set your mind to something, given that life will allow you to go for it, you're the only person that stops you.
Right.
You're the only person that stops you. If you say, this is what I want to do, until you start, you never know if you can. And a lot of the time, I think we can be in the prime of our lives, but we refuse to just put the gear and drive and go. We stay in neutral.
Yeah, these people that are uber successful that you're listen to or watch or look up to, who've had all of this success in life, they're like, if you just talk to them, you happen to sit by them on a plane or meet them in a restaurant or have coffee with them, there's nothing like special in their blood.
No.
Or they are just normal people that had the ability to overcome their own limiting beliefs, and they had the courage to chase the dream that they wanted.
Mm-hmm. Jen told us about the 12-hour walk, the book, the 12-hour walk, and a lot of a lot of the self-help books, or just some of the books I've been reading or listening to, going after, definitely influenced by you. Like when you say, I've been reading this, and the 12-hour walk, I started listening to it as I was going into peak week for this competition. And the author of the book, I can't believe I just forgot his name. Colin O'Grady.
Yeah,
yes, O'Grady. And basically, the young kid graduates college, and he goes on a trip. During this trip, he gets burnt. Just the burns were bad. And basically, he was told, you'll never walk normally again. You'll never, And there is one, I think he refers to it as your Everest. His mum asked him a question and said, never mind what you think your abilities are right now. What's the one thing that you would like to accomplish, to do that would, and he set his mind, was it first the marathon? Because he's competed in so many. Mind you, this guy could not walk. Eventually, as he's been going through rehabilitation, he's able to walk, not so well, but he challenges himself. Instead of driving home, he walks to and from work. And it's from this point of starting to take the small steps to this bigger goal, he eventually made it to running this marathon and then gets sponsorships to enter into the Olympics and all of this. But it started from a point of he had something he wanted to do, and he just started taking those small steps that at each point, he always says, when he thinks about something he wants to do, he says, if I don't do it, I know I'm going to look back later on in life and regret it.
Yeah.
And from that, I really saw, I don't want to look back on my life and regret things. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm going to make every moment a prime. Every season, I want to have a prime. And I want to I don't want to be my own limiting factor. And I don't want my mind to be, if I can, I'm going to try.
Yeah. That's amazing.
The prime of your life.
Anytime, you're always in your prime for something. For
you're
some
always
goal.
In the prime. I agree. But I think it's whether you can see it or believe that you're in your prime, or rather you're hyper-focused on everything that's not where you want it to be.
Yeah. I think like it's, I think as people, we have like all these thoughts, and he came up with the 12-hour walk, which I am intending to do. I just got to pick a date in the calendar, maybe October. I'll have a free day in there to do that. But like, our minds are so tricky with like what we tell ourselves and our own limiting thoughts. Like even like when I was doing 75-day hard, you know, I'm a busy person and I had to come up with 45 minutes outside workout, 45 minutes inside workout, drink a gallon of water, all of that for 75 days in a row. And, you know, there's a lot in your mind. Like you may not want to do 75-day hard, but you might want to go for a walk every day. Or you may, our minds just, they easily focus on the things that will hold you back instead of, okay, let me look at my day. When am I starting my day right now? When am I ending my day right now? How much TV do I watch?
Yeah.
How much, you know, my kids have practice. Okay, well, can you go on your outside walk while they're having practice instead of talking to the moms in the parking lot? Can I get up 45 minutes earlier? Or there's always time in the day or the week to figure out how to reach your goal if you're serious about doing it. I know you just went through that with all the stuff you've been doing for your bodybuilding shows.
And you know, from that, I think it's the change, having to change your schedule, your routine, the fear of, I won't be able to do this with this person, I won't be able to do that, sometimes is what can stop us from, you know, thinking about what can I change in my life? When can I fit it in? Because you can. You and I are very busy and we've taken on challenges that we've had to change some things. You can fit it in.
Yeah, 100% you can.
So here's to the prime of your years, friends.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to this episode of It Starts With Courage podcast with Kat and Jen. If you like this episode of the podcast, visit our website, iswcpodcast.com, for show notes and other cool things.